Now, one of the big things that happened last weekend was the NFL draft. And who better to come on than one of my ride or dies, Mr. Silver Star Sparks himself, Sterling. How you doing, my man? You're a Giants fan, dude. Those first two picks, man, you got to be walking with your chin up and everything, man.
Oh my gosh, the first two picks, it felt like a whole new era. It was great. It was great to be post Gettleman era for me.
So this is always funny to me, and because the fact of the matter is, 31% of these young that make it in the league make a career of this. So 3 out of 10. So you know what I mean. So everyone gives their NFL draft grades, and instead of you and I going through giving draft grades, I thought we'd say who we thought good drafts, okay, bad drafts, and why. And then on top of that, who we thought it was the best pick and the worst pick. So I know some of them we agree, some of them we disagree with probably. What is your first team their best draft?
So the first team that I thought knocked it out of the park was the Baltimore Ravens. And it's so funny because last year I remember us talking and we were like, the Ravens always year after year, they just understand drafting. They don't overcomplicate anything. They're just like a good franchise that lets players fall to them. They take that player and they understand draft value. So to get Kyle Hamilton after his slide, great pickup. And then to trade back into the first round and get Tyler Linderbaum, who's going to be like their center for the next 10, 15 seasons. What a steal. And then David Ojabo, like he would have been a decent pick at 23, but then to trade back so that they get him in the second round, just a steal. They knocked it out of the park for me.
My first one, and this is like gonna be weird me saying this. The Detroit Lions. Number one, they didn't stretch for a QB, which I thought was huge. Not stretching for a QB, I feel was great because no one in this draft class is that good. Number two, Hutch fell. You got your dominant pass rusher, someone that will be able to come in, get double digit sacks, and just by getting a pass rusher, it's make the defense better. Number three, you traded up. You got Williams. Granted, he wasn't like 4 on my board, but he's a field stretcher. He's someone that can go deep, open underneath for St. Brown and Hutch, Reynolds. So they got that guy that can stretch the field, which is big, will allow the underneath. Number 3, they got my boy Pascal from Kentucky. Huge story, cancer survivor, learned how to walk, and able to do is stop the run. He's going to be a little bit of a hybrid, play a linebacker, D-line, love the pick. And then PFF graded Joseph, the safety from Illinois, as the top safety on the board. So, I mean, this is a great draft. I don't know what to do. I didn't know what to do on Monday. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't know what to do because I think we had a good draft. So it was a little weird for me. Who's your next? Who's the next with a good draft?
Speaking of it being weird, we talked about how the Giants had a great draft. We talked about how the Lions had a great draft. Another uncharacteristic team that had a good draft is the New York Jets. And granted, yes, they did have 3 first-round picks, so, but people forget it can be hard to hit with 3 first-round picks. Just look at the Raiders from a few years ago. But I feel like they knocked it out of the park. They got the cornerback one, Sauce Gardner, in my opinion. They got the wide receiver one for me, Garrett Wilson. And then Jermaine Johnson, to get him as late as they did, he was like a top 10 pick for some people on some people's boards. So that was a steal. And then they had great picks later on in the draft. Their future's looking bright. I think it's a good time to bet the over for the Jets right now at 5.5.
The Jets also had one of my best pick of the draft, which we'll get to later. So did you like the Lions draft?
Oh, I loved it. You and I talked weeks ago, and it was just like, just please do not draft a quarterback. Don't reach for anyone. And they didn't. And that's just going to make it so much easier for whatever quarterback they get next year. And next year has tons of talented quarterbacks, from Will Levis to Bryce Young to C.J. Stroud. It's a great quarterback class next year.
Now, my next team is one of those teams, we talk about it, always does well. I look at this, the Saints' two biggest needs: offensive tackle, receiver. They got he was at the top of my receiver on my board, Ovale. Great run. More importantly, he's friends with Michael Thomas, and Michael Thomas wants to play with. Now Michael Thomas will get on the field, which is absolutely huge. Number two, they lost Armstead, lost their tackle. Need to get a tackle. Need to get someone that can come in right away. Got your boy from Northern Iowa, Penny, slot in right away, and then Taylor, the kid from Tennessee. He could come in and play special teams, but also he can also play safety. I think he's going to get some run in the back four. I think he's able to come in and fill those needs in the back four that the Saints have. I think the Saints knocked it out of the park.
Here's where I'm going to disagree with you a little bit here. I thought the Saints had a good draft. I saw in most of the mock drafts before the draft that they were taking Penning and Olave, and they got those two guys, so good on them for that. But I feel like Penning's a little raw. They want someone who's going to start right away, and I think he's just a little raw. He had tons of penalties at Northern Iowa, and then also Taylor. I forgot where he was on my cornerback rankings, but he wasn't in my top 10. So I thought it was a little reach there. But no, they still have a good team. And I think getting those playmakers back, and Michael Thomas and then Kamara getting healthy again, the Saints are a sneaky team.
We need to remember about Kamara is the whole thing with him getting arrested right after the All-Pro game. Mm. No one's talking about it. Like, we don't even know what's going on with that.
I forgot about that.
So, like that's a big elephant in the room. Worst draft. Let's hear it.
I hated the Packers draft. So all the talk was how they needed a wide receiver. I didn't have faith in them to take a wide receiver or to trade up. And they surely didn't. They ended up getting a wide receiver in Christian Watson. But for me, Christian Watson was the most raw of the wide receivers out there. Like, he was catching with his body. I've never had 1,000 yards at North or South Dakota State. I just feel like they needed an offensive rookie of the year candidate, and I don't think Christian Watson's that type of wide receiver. And then also to take a linebacker with their first pick at 22, and it's not even the best linebacker on the board. Might have been the fourth best linebacker in the class with Quay Walker. And then Devontae Wyatt, he's a decent pick in its own right. But I don't know. I feel like the Packers really need to capitalize on the window they have with Rodgers, and they certainly didn't do that.
So let me ask you this. Watching the Pittsburgh Steelers last year, would you agree that offensive line was their biggest need?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So let's just take a gander. Kenny Pickett, quarterback. George Pickens, wide receiver. Devon Lean, defensive end. Calvin Austin, another wide receiver. Connor Hayward, tight end, fullback, H-back type of player from my Michigan State Spartans. Mark Robinson, linebacker. Your biggest weakness you didn't address at all. That's my issue. And also you have Deontay Johnson and Claypool. And not one but two wide receivers. And then with how the draft unfolded, I mean, God only knows where you get Kenny Pickett. You took him in the first round. So it's one of those teams that historically has a good draft. This year I sucked.
Yeah, I'm not as down on it, but definitely, like, if you miss on a quarterback selection, it can set your franchise back 3-4 years. And I think taking Kenny Pickett in the first round when they have other roster needs was a mistake, honestly. So,
see, man, man, thank you, dude. Like, you're the nicest dude. Even when you say negative about a team, you always try to turn it into a little bit of a positive. Man,
It
I
could
just
be
go
a
straight.
flaw I have. Yeah.
Me, I just go straight asshole. I'm like, dude, you suck, and this is you're like, well, you're like, dude, that's I love you, my man. That's why I love you, dude.
Thanks.
Who's your next one, dude?
My next one, there was a lot of drafts I wasn't super high on, but another one is the Patriots. Everyone hated the Cole Strange pick. I saw that was a lot of people graded that as the worst pick of the first round. Personally, I have Cole Strange having a second round grade, so I didn't find it as too much of a reach as everyone else. But like Tyquan Thornton and all the rest of their picks, all those running backs, I liked the players individually, but why are you taking two running backs? Patriots, Bill Belichick has done some weird things as a GM, and he kind of gets the benefit of the doubt. But as we've seen in recent years, like times are changing, you know. So
Now, I love Justin Fields. I think Fields has a lot of being a good quarterback in the NFL. And then you hire Matt Eberflus, a defensive coordinator for the Indianapolis Colts, who couldn't even construct a game plan to stop the Jacksonville Jaguars in the final week of the season. To develop your your quarterback of the future and everything. And here's something you may not know. Are you ready to get absolutely blown away by this fact I'm going to drop?
lay it on me.
If you're the Chicago Bears coach, you are required to go to Saturday night mass with the Hollis family. Your facial expression says it all.
Yeah, really.
Like, are you serious? Like, you know what I mean? Like what? You're required to go to like I want my coach prepared. I want my coach doing work. I don't want him going to mass. And if people take that the wrong way, I'm sorry, but that's what I want. You need to protect the poor kid. You just start drafting cornerbacks. You just start moving back. Be aggressive. Get an offensive lineman. When the Bears picked, there were some good value offensive linemen still on the board. They could have got someone to come in and build with the kid from Oklahoma State, Austin, that they got last year. You're drafting cornerbacks. That just doesn't make sense to me. They're putting Fields in a place to fail, and I mean, I think they're going to frog by the Lions this year, and then God only knows what Minnesota's going to do. God only knows what's going to happen in Green Bay. I think the North is prime for a picking. You have a dynamic quarterback in Fields, and you drop the ball by not protecting him.
Yeah, I think the Bears in particular, the most important thing is Justin Fields' development. And I think that's well known. Like people outside of the NFL even know like Justin Fields is the guy in Chicago. We gotta like make him be the best that he can. And the Bears just did not do that. And it's funny because I go on all these different team pages and see like what their fans are saying about it. And the Bears are like, oh yeah, we drafted offensive linemen, but if you drafted a tackle in the fifth round, like how good do you expect him to really be? And then also the wide receiver they did take out of Tennessee, Velus Jones. He's 24, 25. He's a very old rookie already.
Worst pick. What was your worst pick of the draft?
I already touched on it, but Quay Walker, that just really bothered me. If I was a Packers fan, I would really hate it. But I do have another one that I really didn't like. My New York Giants took Wan'Dale Robinson in the second round. And I just feel like for a team with so many needs and to take a gadget wide receiver in the second round when you already have, or just correcting last year's mistake of Kadarius Toney, I don't really feel like that skill set is something that needs to be on the football field with so many other needs to get him to manufacture a few touches for him a game. I don't know. I didn't really like that pick.
Oh my God. I totally forgot that they're trying to trade Toney.
Yeah.
Oh God, dude. I totally effing forgot that they're trying to trade him. You know, my worst pick, small hands Kenny did. You know what I mean? Like honestly, because you saw the draft board broke out, you could have got him. Number two, what was he on your draft board?
I believe I had him third.
I had him 6.
Oh,
You know,
really? He was your least favorite. Oh,
oh my God. Like we're seeing it in the USFL. If you have small ends, you can't hold on to the ball. And I think he's going to struggle to hold on the ball. In my eyes, this was a total panic move because of what happened in with Dan Marino. You have a Pittsburgh quarterback coming out, and you totally stretched for him, and you were afraid he was going to be something. You, in my eyes, it was the perfect place to draft Desmond Ridder. I think Ridder is Ben Roethlisberger Jr., and I think that the Falcons got a home run drafting him. What was your take of Kenny?
so for Kenny Pickett, he was my quarterback 3. But because you mentioned the small hands, I would have loved to see him go to like an indoor football team. Because when it's in Pittsburgh and it's snowing, how much is he going to be able to push the ball downfield? So I didn't love that pick, especially with how the board broke out and with all the quarterbacks falling, that they were the ones to select Kenny Pickett. Um, I think the people most excited about Kenny Pickett are the Steelers marketing team, honestly.
I mean, that's a way to put it. What was your best?
So speaking of quarterbacks, I really like Sam Howell. He's my quarterback 2. My quarterback 1 was Carson Strong. Obviously, he didn't get drafted because of his knee issues. But if you take out Carson Strong, then Sam Howell is my quarterback 1. And he actually was the last quarterback drafted out of the 5, falling all the way to the 5th round and to the Washington Commanders, which I'll have to get used to saying. But yeah, to get him in the 5th round, the past 3 Commanders quarterbacks, they lack the upside. Where Sam Howell, he's a great athlete. He's got a strong arm. And I think behind that O line and those weapons, he's going to really have a chance to unlock that potential that we didn't see at UNC.
Now, I love me. This is going to just sound awful. Some big men. I love the trenches.
That didn't sound the best, but
you don't. It didn't. It didn't. And I admit it. That came out wrong. My girl who I'm hanging out with, she probably won't like that comment, but my top pick. I mean, there he is, right? That's my top pick right there. Max Mitchell, Raging Cajun, going to the Jets round. I have this guy, I believe, as number 6 or 7 on my offensive line king. And even if Becton comes, I don't even know what Becton's going to do for the Jets because the coach said that he's MIA. They don't know what's going to happen. We don't. You have someone that can come in and start. Doesn't start. He can play not left tackle. He can play right tackle. And remember that the Jets are just San Francisco East. You know what I mean? They're San Francisco East. I like this pick. Comes from the zone running system. I think he's going to come in. He's going to be able to pick up the blocking scheme, left or right side, depending on what Becton does. They have a day 1 starter.
Yeah, I agree. That's another reason why I have the Jets as big winners in this draft because he's an excellent scheme fit to grab him in the 4th round. Versatility to play both sides. Slam dunk.
Great pick. I want to thank you for coming on. You do work. Hopefully, you'll start posting more, man, because I miss your post. You've turned into a good friend over the years. Really all the time, all the effort you come on the podcast and everything. Obviously, an NFL schedule is released maybe a week or 2 after it. Once you get organized with the stuff you have going on, because this is a big month in your life. I'd love to have you come back on and just kind of dive in and kind of games you have circled and kind of like some games you're looking forward to. teams with good, bad, and like some situational spots before. Would you be interested in something like that, my man?
Oh, of course. I always look forward to our season predictions every year. Like you said, I haven't really been posting lots of stuff going on in my life, graduating in a couple days, starting a new job, moving out the house. Just lots of stuff going on,
But good stuff going on.
but good stuff.
Good
Yeah,
stuff.
absolutely.
There's a big difference between stuff and good stuff. And man, you got good stuff going on. I think part of what I'm trying to do, and treat was you're going to be starting a podcast soon. So once you do, I'd love to come on it, man.
Absolutely.
Thanks for coming on, my friend. As soon as the schedule's released, let's plan on talking again, my friend.
Sounds great, man. Thanks for having me as always.